Welcome back, guys. We're going to do some work out of the textbook, and we're focusing on an exercise that we're going to work on factors and multiples. Now we need to know the difference between those things. Factors, they're the smaller numbers that divide exactly into the number that you're studying, okay? And what I'm going to show you is when we write these things down, we'll make a list to represent our answer. Okay, we'll do some drawings and help you see what a factor is, but at the end we'll have a list. Okay, and multiples, I think we're just taking that number and multiplying it by any whole number that we can think of. I'm just thinking 5 cartons of eggs, and how many eggs is that? Well, there's 12 in a carton and we've got 5 cartons, so 12 times 5 is 60. That's the world of multiples, okay? And the same thing, I'm going to get you to write them in a list, because the work that's coming next when we're studying things like the highest common factor and lowest common multiples, if you write lists one underneath the other, then it's really easy to find the number that you're looking for, the highest common factor or lowest common multiple. But that's coming up next. So let's just do a good job of this. I'll jump behind the light board and get started. Okay, to start this video, I've written out a couple of things and I'd like you to write them on your page as well. And we're working with factors and multiples. And factors are the smaller numbers that divide exactly into the number that you're working on. So if we're using that word exactly, we're saying no remainder. There's nothing left over. That's important. So what I look at factors as are the building blocks. And there might be more than one way to build a number. And the multiples, on the other hand, whatever the building block is, all we're just doing is stacking those in a row, perhaps. Okay, so if they're 12, like I was talking about in the introduction, if there were a dozen boxes of a dozen eggs, and I think we had 5, so that's all equal to 60. 60 is a multiple of 12, okay? So that's the way we talk, that's the language we use. Any integer, okay, so we're just talking about whole numbers here. Don't do any work with any decimals, okay? So, and the big thing for you, what you're maybe not used to, is writing lists. So I'm just going to do an example here, and I write the factors of 20 are, and sometimes I just write out a list. And this is what I do. 1 and 20. I'm working towards the middle here. Okay. I'm thinking of that as one row of 20. Okay. And because it's an even number, we can make 2 rows of 10 and change the way we build this number to 2 rows of 10 is still equal to 20. Okay, so then I'll start thinking about the numbers. Why I do it this way is because I start thinking about the numbers between 2 and 10. Okay, I know they need to be smaller numbers that divide in evenly. And honestly, I do my work down here. I'm thinking 3. Does 3 go into 20? No, it doesn't. But 4 does. 4 goes in 5 times. And now I'm just thinking about what's in between 4 and 5. And there's nothing left to think about. I've covered all the bases. So there's a trick for you when you're working with these questions. I'll just finish off what I was doing here. 4 times 5 is 20. That's one way to build 20. Now this is your answer. And for some people that may look strange. Maybe you've been doing maths and you know everything you've been doing is the answer is a number. Now this is a little bit different because we've written out a sentence and we've included a list of numbers in that sentence. So let's try a few more numbers, and I'm thinking about 15. I want to work with 15, and perhaps I might cut that bit, start again. I'm working with 15, and I'm thinking about all the ways, just to start off with, I'm thinking about all the ways I build 15. I've got one row of 15, builds 15. 15 is an odd number, so 2 is not going to go in there, but I can make 3 rows of 5 to make 15. And I'm thinking about 4 won't work. All right, so how do I write my answer? And my answer begins with this statement. Factors of 15 are 1, 15, 3, 5. Now I'm checking in here, and I talked about it just before. 4 doesn't go in. So my list, I know my list is complete. I can be confident that my list is complete. Now, if I wanted to write out a list of multiples of 15, that's an easy job. I start off the same way, change the word, and that's easy. 15 times 1 is 15. 15 times 2 is 30. 15 times 3 is 45. And I could keep going, ... All right, the pattern continues. Now, I'll just change the color of my pen. Let's work on another number. Let's work on 40, for example. It's an even number, and it may pay to write that because it's an even number, I can think about the different ways to build this. I've got the trivial example, if you like, one row of 40. So we know how we're going to write this statement, and we know how it's going to play out. We're going to look and examine at the numbers between 1 and 40 and see what goes in evenly. It's an even number, so 2 goes in there 20 times. 2 times 20 is 40. And I've still got an even number up here, so I'm thinking 4 times 10 is 40. Okay, so let's think about other options that we've got. We've got to think about numbers between 4 and 10 now. I'm thinking 5 will work because 40 ends in a 0, so 5 will go in. 5 times 8 is 40. Does 6 go in? Does 7 go in? They're the things I'm thinking. Now I know that, I'm thinking let's write my answer as a statement. Factors of 40 are, and I might run out of board here, so I just might be careful and write this down here and see how I call them the bookends. Okay, I know from here I've got my bookends, and you'll always have your bookends. The bookends will be 1 on the left hand side and the number itself on the right hand side. So always start down this end because life's easier. 2 times 20, 3 didn't go in, 4 went in 10 times, and we thought about 5 and 8. There's my complete list of factors, and I know, I'm just checking in my head that if 6 went in there evenly, no it doesn't, and 7's not going to go into there evenly. So my list of factors is complete, and I've been systematic about how I've been writing it, so I haven't missed anything. Okay, so I'm not going to pause now. I'm not going to write out a list of multiples of 40 because I've run out of room. But I'm sure you can. If you come back to this example up here, swap out the 15 and make it 40, and that's easy. I think your list is going to be something like 40, 80, 120, 160, 200, 240, for example. Okay, so that's the work I want to get you started on. I think the biggest thing you're going to have trouble with is understanding what your answer looks like and what I want from you as an answer. So I've done my best to show you that.